audio too?
Audio first, actually.
So even though we have the other screen on there, we
fucking love Jesse.
our audio is heard.
Alright, we're up now.
Okay. Wait, I don't see us up yet.
We're right there. It'll be a second. Robert, you probably want to scoot over just a little bit so you're.
I don't think we're up yet. Oh, here we are. I think we're delayed.
Yeah, there'll be a good delay.
So there's time to censor me if.
Yeah, I think we're online.
Well, actually, no. I'd have to add the delay. Right now, we're just seeing the delay from the network.
Great.
Okay.
I think we're
Are we
online.
live?
Yeah. We're
Really?
live. So, let's get started, Kalen.
Great.
Robert, you're kind of in the shadows coming.
Yes.
Hi everyone. I'm I'm sorry. Hi everyone. I'm Caleb Hassler, co-founder here at Render, and we are just incredibly blown away by how well our launch today went. It's not even been
12 hours.
It's been exactly 12 hours, and it is just we are all completely blown away by how well we have done in the 12 hours.
Thank you for your support, everyone.
Thank you guys so much.
We have 29 more days to go, and
29 and a half.
Are very excited to bring this into production with your help and get optics sent out to you all.
Yep.
We see Busy Erect costumes here, congratulating on the launch, and Bat Mobia, welcome. We are also opening up our short live Q&A today. So if you have any questions for us today, please go ahead. I'll be moderating the questions. In the meantime, until we get any questions, we'll have a quick introduction. I'm Martin Engst.
Do we want to say more things about?
We'll do quick
us?
names. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm Caleb. Martin and I met in design school, and we started this about 3 years ago in my basement and in the basements of Virginia Tech, and it is just incredible seeing how far it has come. Hans has been there since the very beginning. Robert is new.
Technically since before the beginning.
Yeah.
Prehistory, you know.
That's right. Okay, so Robert.
Yeah, hi, I'm Robert. I basically make all the video and content, and I signed on a few months ago, and it's been a blast so far, and thank you all for coming out today and supporting us and continuing to support us throughout the whole Kickstarter campaign and everywhere else. Thank you.
Okay, we have Brian tuning in too. Thanks for congratulating, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
I'm sure you're one of the people who made it happen. Well, so there are no questions in the chat yet. Let's move over to Hans.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Hans Stahl, and I am a product engineer. So I do all the electrical engineering, and in the build up to the Kickstarter, I also do a lot of the content and stuff. Run the streams and be in the streams. So
Great.
Many hats these days, but officially product engineer.
Yeah, there are a few of us who don't wear many hats, and I mean, we are all on a lot of tasks here. A few people that are not here with us right now today are a group of interns that are helping us, who are all Virginia Tech students.
Yeah, interns made it happen as well, definitely.
And they are just as much part of the success today. So let's see, we still don't have any questions, but perhaps we can just...
We can answer questions that we have seen lots of today.
Yeah, answer some of those. Let's see,
Alrighty.
where do we want to start? We're going to go to the comments section on Kickstarter and check out what people have been asking or commenting here to cover that for everyone.
Do we have an FAQ?
The FAQ is we can sure go through that.
What is Kickstarter?
Why don't we
Move the
start
light so
here
we can see Robert.
over? This one is a great question here, Caleb, that you can answer. Will the unit be able to use a rotary axis attachment?
Sorry, Robert.
Yes, eventually. We have put together some concepts for a rotary module that would be able to plug into the Optic and that you would be able to use. Unfortunately, it will not be a part of the Kickstarter. We are focusing on getting all of the optics done and to all of their respective backers first, and then we will continue development on the rotary module and a couple of other accessories to the machine.
Yeah, one of the things that I've continually noted about the design of the Optic is how many possibilities there are for future expansion. Like, yeah, it's got like, a pretty solid base platform, just by itself, the machine as it is, as we'll ship them to you. But beyond that, there are tons of great possibilities for accessories and expansion kits and all that sort of stuff that we can offer in the future, like a rotary module, like the lift kit that I think we do actually mention on the Kickstarter page. Like, all that sort of stuff can even further expand an already versatile machine.
So I think a couple of things, because we've gotten questions like that and questions about what are, for example, the exhaust module that is optional for, or what is the work envelope expansion kit. Maybe we can talk about those
Do we wanna show
add-ons
the
a little
exhaust
bit
module?
here,
Can you
because
grab the exhaust module?
there might be
Yeah, I
a
got
few additional details that we are still adding to the page so that you all have your questions answered earlier. Hans
it
is
click?
grabbing all of the parts
I'll
of the
grab it.
exhaust
It's
module
over there.
to preview how you would use this add-on.
Yeah. And so to talk about the I believe the official name is the Optic Work Area Expansion Kit. Did I say it right?
Work envelope expansion
Work
kit, yes.
Envelope Expansion Kit. We sometimes just call it a lift kit around here in the office. But what that does is it allows you to, in between the cutting mat and the bottom of the body, it utilizes the magnetic snaps on both so that you can snap on the riser in between the cutting mat and in between the top of the cutting mat and the bottom of the lower body. And then there's also a separate piece that, I don't get stuck in the Optic, that magnetically snaps to this side of the cutting mat because there's magnets in this side of the cutting mat. That's what holds it to this side of the body when it snaps closed. And we utilize those magnets in order to attach the idler side of the expansion kit, allowing you to raise the Optic up either by 1 inch, either by 1 inches or by 3 inches, allowing you to put objects of different thicknesses below the gantry height than what would normally fit under there. And so this feature, or this accessories use case really shines in scenarios where your object is thicker than the Optic's gantry, but not large enough for you to set the Optic all the way down on top of it, like a tabletop or like a large cutting board. And so those would be the scenarios in which that would be really useful. And you are able to stack the two sets together. So you have all of the height variation, so you can use just the 1 inch one, or you can use the 1 inch one in combination with the 3 inch one for a maximum gantry clearance of about 4.5 inches, allowing eventually you to use the rotary module with, I don't know, a Yeti or something.
Yeah, if
All
you've
right.
seen rotary modules for other machines, their gantry clearance is such that they can fit under there without any sort of lift, but their focus range is much larger and much more difficult to focus. Or not necessarily more difficult to focus. It's just the travel of the laser module up and down for focus is much greater, and so because this is such a compact machine, the focus can only go a certain range, and so to get the rotary module underneath there, it just makes more sense to lift up the machine instead of making the machine bigger. Because the whole point is it being compact.
here is the exhaust module, which is being offered as a part of the current campaign. This is what it looks like when it has a faceplate on it. So when it is loaded into the machine, it looks basically exactly how it is right now. It looks just like a filter, except there's a little symbol on it with 3 lines to tell you that it is not, in fact, a filter, that it is hiding the port where you can attach the adapter hose to. Hans broke it.
It's not broken.
It's held on with 4 embedded magnets, so it is really easy to slide on and then snap off. And then, so once this is installed into the machine, it's backwards threaded.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It's all coming together.
Yeah, everything makes sense now.
And then you would use the Optic exhaust module support, which is what this piece is. And it is a clamp that folds flat. This is what the bottom of it looks like. So there's rubber here, and there's also rubber on the bottom of this piece right here. And then so by loosening this screw right here, this piece slides up and down along here, allowing you to clamp this to your table or your work surface. And then once it is clamped, you then attach the adapter hose about like this. And then once you plug it into the Optic, then it sort of travels like a cable chain like this, keeping it up and out of the way so that it's not going to knock anything off the table or anything. And then with this end, you would then attach this to a larger air filter if you already have one that you want to use. You could attach it to a shop vac and then vent it outside on the other end. You could attach it to some other evacuation method if you have like, an evacuation system in your shop already. So we're really just trying to make it as accessible and easy to use attachment as possible. And so where that would be really useful is if you are in a situation where you already have one of those things, and it would be better for your workflow to utilize it.
Yeah, or if say you got like a wood shop or something where you've already got like exhaust set up, and you want to do like a whole bunch of heavy cutting, and you don't want to like burn through filters. This is an expansion that can allow you to increase your efficiency and increase your effectiveness by utilizing what you already got without impacting the ability of the machine to still fold up. And say one of the people that we worked with in DC had a wood shop where he wanted to be able to use this machine there, and he could use a filtration, like a exhaust system that he already had, or just pipe it out the window. And he also wanted to be able to take it to like craft fairs and stuff and be able to engrave stuff for people on site. And so this allows you to, when you've got it in, say, your shop, have that exhaust, or if you've got it on the go, you can, use it to engrave like customized things for people at craft fairs, which is like not even something that I thought about until he talked about it. It's just a really super powerful use of the machine.
And so what it looks like to actually change it out is you just remove the filter, and then you would remove this bolt here and this bolt here, and then the fan module is removable, and then you just slide this in as if it's a filter.
Yeah, so it replaces both the fans and the filter, and that's a very easy exchange to do that the user can do themselves.
And just a few things. A few people have asked whether you can buy this later during the post-campaign backer kit survey, and you can totally do so, or you can decide to already add it to your checkout now. That is up to you.
Ooh, we have more questions.
One other question here. We got several questions in finally. Would be a good one to discuss around the cutting mat.
Yeah.
Is there a camera or some other device to ensure precision alignment of pre-made work pieces so that the cuts are right there when where they need to be?
Yeah, so that sort of alignment device is sort of baked into the architecture of the machine from the beginning. So if you notice this 1-inch grid that is all across the cutting board, that's engraved directly onto the aluminum surface right here. And that actually matches up perfectly. I need to stop looking at the monitor. That matches up perfectly with the digital grid within Lightburn. And so what that means is that if you place a physical object, like if I wanted to like engrave perfectly something on my phone, I could set it at specific coordinates on the cutting bed, and then I could arrange my design in Lightburn with those same coordinates as my reference point, and then I know that my design is going to perfectly sit at wherever I wanted it to on this pre-existing device. Another thing that you can do is use Lightburn's print and cut feature, which is the same feature that we utilize when indexing the machine across larger builds. You can also use that for aligning pre-existing work pieces. So if you have something that you drew on a piece of cardboard that you wanted to cut out, you would just put two like target points, like with your Sharpie or whatever you use to draw that, and then you would take a picture of it, bring it into Lightburn, and then you tell Lightburn where those 2 points are, and then it automatically reorients the artwork to line up with those 2 points in the real world. And so that would be a scenario in which you would be using registration marks that were on the workpiece, and that you'd be telling Lightburn where they are as well. So there's lots of options when it comes to, I guess, work positioning that you can do right out of the box with the machine.
Yeah, so there's no built-in way, like a camera, to digitize your work within the machine. However, it really, I think, is much more intuitive the way that it is set up with the cutting grid than having, I don't know, like a honeycomb grid with no markings or whatever. It's much more intuitive to use this layout grid, I've found, than other laser cutter machines, like a CO2 laser where it has like the honeycomb grid. It's much more difficult to line up your work accurately. There have been plenty of times where I've screwed up the alignment on a big CO2 laser because it's just like,
yeah,
I hope it's in the right place, whereas this you can really actually see, and you can position stuff really quite accurately, just by eye.
So guys, how would you compare that with a camera? Because the question here that Will posted, that was from the Facebook group, asked about a camera versus another device, and how would you compare the grid to a camera?
So it says, well, it's another device, and then it says brackets, fences, dogs, and jigs. And the bed itself sort of acts as the dogs, fences. What was the third one?
Jigs.
Yeah. Because you have a straight edge right here that is perfectly perpendicular to the machine. And the grid is aligned with and normal to both axes and is marked across the whole volume. So there is no camera on the machine, but each optic is precisely calibrated to have its 0 point match up perfectly with this 0 point right here, which then matches up perfectly in Lightburn to make accurate positioning as easy as possible.
Yeah, there's what, like
given this
12, 14 point magnetic alignment between the cutting mat and the machine.
Yeah.
It's extremely accurate. It'll line up the same way every time. So you can guarantee that the cutting grid lines up with the cutting grid in Lightburn. And so really, it functions very similar to the way that a camera would. I think to answer the question directly, the kind of like your eyes are the camera, because you can see it directly and you can align it directly instead of having to look through the machine camera. You just position it on the grid. Because I don't think that Lightburn, Glowforge or whatever other machines have cameras in them. I don't think they do any sort of, you still have to manually align it based on what you see through the camera, I think. And this, you just align it based on what you see with your eyes.
Let's get to one other question before we wrap up for today. We are, of course, answering questions on every channel, Facebook group, social media, email, and we will get to all of your questions. But Brian Van here had a question about the output wattage of the laser, and just retracted that, but we'll get to it anyway.
Yeah.
And well,
Plenty happy
Caleb
to answer
and
that
Hans
question
will
anyways.
speak to that briefly, and then we'll wrap up for today and see how tomorrow goes.
Yeah. So the Optic utilizes a type of laser technology that
Give
is
the simple answer first.
15 watts. So we're combining two 7.5 watt individual blue light diodes using a combining element, and then we're using a fast axis collimating lens to focus it at a tiny point, like, is it 18 millimeters below the end of the?
It's actually adjustable. The current design, you can adjust it by screwing the lens in and out.
Cool.
So we make it consistent, I think, to 18 millimeters below, but if for some reason you wanted to, I don't know.
So short answer is a peak optical output of 15 watts by combining two 7.5 watt diodes. It may eventually end up being a little bit more as we tune in our cooling system and our filtration system as tight as we can, but that is the current spec.
Yeah, and so if you see like Nijas or Atom Stacks, they call their systems like 40 or 50 watt systems. So ours is like 40 watt input, 15 watt output. So if you see those diode lasers claiming big high numbers like 40 or 50 watts, they're talking about input power, and our input power is roughly 40 watts, output power of 15 watts.
Yeah.
So.
And to our knowledge, the Optic is the most powerful currently available solid-state laser cutting system.
All right. Well, Brian, thanks for the question. And with that, we'll wrap up for today. Again, we'll answer questions via email and social media, Facebook group, and anywhere you ask us questions. Even had someone on the phone today. Thanks for your support.
Yes,
and,
thank you so much.
Please keep sharing with your network so that we can get this campaign to the next level.
Yes.
Are you going to turn it off, Hans?
Yeah, I'll go shut it off.
Have a good evening.
Bye, everyone.